Top of the day, top of the day. Let's get into it, folks. On this episode of Do You Ride podcast, we go have the pleasure of chiming in and reaching out to Retro, a good friend of mine in this motorcycle culture. This guy come packed with a lot of advice, a lot of knowledge in this motorcycle world. And I'm going to bring him in on the line. We go talk to him about a couple different things. Just tune in with us and enjoy the show.
Hey there, motorcycle enthusiasts. Welcome to Do You Ride, the ultimate podcast that takes you on a thrilling journey through the fascinating world of motorcycles. With your host, Marvin Gibson, your guide on this high-octane adventure. Whether you're a seasoned rider or just revving up your interest in bikes, this is the place to be. On Do You Ride, we're diving deep into the heart and soul of the biking community. From the roar of the engines to the camaraderie on the open road, we'll explore it all. Get ready for an adrenaline-fueled exploration of club culture, the thrill of bike rallies, and the breathtaking experiences that come with hitting the road on two wheels. But it's not just about the ride, it's about the rider. We'll share stories of passion, the sense of freedom that comes with each twist of the throttle, and the unique challenges faced by bikers. So gear up and join us every week as we embark on a journey through the wind, the curves, and the undeniable spirit of the motorcycle world. This is Do You Ride? Join your host, Marvin Gibson, and together, we're going to explore what it truly means to ride.
Yeah, we back again. Welcome to this episode of Do You Ride? We go get into a couple different topics today on this episode. A couple different things I would like to, talk to Retro about, get his input, get his advice. And we putting this information out, to the people in the motorcycle culture. We all have questions that we won't answer sometimes. And sometimes hearing things from a different person, a different perspective, help better solidify our thoughts and our visions when it comes to this motorcycle culture. Building motorcycles, customizing motorcycles, taking trips, taking journeys, and things of that nature. So being able to talk to somebody who's lived it, who I know has been out there in it, who I know who really, breathes this motorcycle stuff, it's welcoming for me because, like I said, I've been riding for a long time, and I'm never one of the ones that claim that I know everything. So I love talking to people that like to share their passion of motorcycle riding and, teach me and talk to me about different things and different questions that I have. Because sometimes, when you talk to people, you look at things from a totally different perspective. And that's what we go do today when we get Retro on the phone. But right now, leading up to that, I just want y'all to know a couple things that we go discuss. We'll talk about, just the future of motorcycle riding. What can we expect? What we think the major changes go be? Attending different bike events, talking to different people about going to different trips and different places to visit, and just get his input on a lot of stuff on the road. And any questions you guys have or anything you guys want to say, you can reach me on all social media platforms. My handle is CVO_Moby. And that's on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I haven't created a Facebook account for it, nothing like that. But you can also reach me on my personal email, which is marvingibson@doyouride.org. Again, that's marvingibson@doyouride.org. I look forward for you guys' comments, whether it be a gripe or a complaint. Let me know how we doing on this podcast. I'm new to this. This is episode 2. I know it's going to be a long journey, but, one of my things for this year was, to stay disciplined. So I have to stay disciplined and stick to what I'm doing with this podcast stuff. I know along down the road, the shows will get better and better. Just bear with me, work with me, help me out. If you see an area that I'm lacking and I can improve, let me know. I'm here for all, criticism or whatever you want to call it. I just want to be able to bring you guys a product that's going to be around. I don't want to be one of them podcasts that pop in for 2 months, do a couple shows and then all of a sudden we disappear. I want this to be a long running syndicate type of deal. So we go try our best to bring you guys everything that you want to see. We go try our best to get you guys everything that you want to hear. I'm gonna try to get Retro on the phone. I don't ain't no telling what this man out doing because he always doing something. I tell you, this guy stays busy, but like I said, he's always a call away. You just got to get him on the phone. So I'm gonna reach out to him to see if we can get him. Give me a minute.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
What's going on, good brother? How you doing today?
Man, we're doing good, man. One day at a time.
Man, that's all we can ask for, right? We got the show started. I kind of gave you an introduction. I told people that we was gonna try to reach out to you and get you on the phone, man. And like I always tell them when I speak of you, I always tell them that this man comes packed full of knowledge and advice in his motorcycle world. So when we talk to you, we know we go get a good word. Everything going good for you?
Everything's going good, man. That's a heavy intro, though, bros, man.
Hey, man, one thing about us brothers, we keep it real now. We don't hide. When we got somebody such as yourself that's packed full of knowledge, man, we got to make sure everybody else understand that as well.
Well, man, I'll do my best to live up to that intro.
All right, hey, man, ain't no worries on my end, man. So let's get into a couple things today, man. I know we tried to reach out last week and, we kind of got things mixed up with the sound and stuff like that. So we go kind of backtrack on a couple things that we discussed, man. But far as you, let's first talk about your journey you took this week, man. I know you ended up having to break it off because of the weather and stuff, man. And you was doing the Four Corners of Georgia, man. You want to tell us how that came about?
Yeah, so we were doing the Four Corners of Florida was what we were attempting this weekend. I'll back up. A couple of years ago, we were having a conversation with a living legend who has rode all over the country and other countries as well. And he made the statement, if you can't get out and do the four corners of the United States, do the four corners of your state. And so something triggered. Whenever you're in the presence of someone who has knowledge, I believe we ought to become a student. And that's what I did in that moment. So out of that conversation was birthed the idea of doing the four corners of North Carolina. Being that that's the state that we reside in, it was a ride we put together because I wanted to inspire my team. Not everyone on my team, and my team being Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, rides the way that I ride and the distance that I ride. But everyone who was a part of the team is important.
Okay.
And so the NC Four Corners was a ride that we put together to inspire the team to let them know that they can do what anyone else does as it relates to riding. So long story short, we rode the Four Corners of North Carolina. We left Statesville, headed for Wilmington, which was the first corner. Beautiful ride. We left Wilmington and went to Kitty Hawk. Beautiful ride. And then from Kitty Hawk to Sparta and then on to Murphy. Each corner presented its own beauty, challenge, and awe. So before we could even leave Wilmington, God just really began to speak to me, really heavily about the trip. So we had to literally get off the highway and have a word of prayer before we could even leave Wilmington. And what we did was every corner we stopped at, we had prayer together as a team. And so there were some challenges, especially by the time we got to Murphy. But we conquered them as a team.
Okay.
Some of the people on the team had never rode that far before, especially in one sitting, in one trip.
Okay.
So it was great. The team was inspired. We were able to overcome some hurdles together, and that's really what it's all about. So after that ride, I was just inspired to keep going. So we went on at a later date, of course, to do Georgia Four Corners. And so bringing it up to this weekend, we were on our way down to Key West to meet a brother down there for a ride. And as I was going through Jacksonville, I thought about it. I've got to go through Jacksonville as well as Miami to get to Key West. That's already half the trip for the Florida Four Corners. So we decided that we would, coming from the Keys, we would hit Naples and then on to Pensacola, which would be the Four Corners of Florida as we designated it. However, we ran into some very severe weather, and I made the choice to abort the mission and just make a beeline for home. So that's what we did. So we'll be going back to Florida to complete the Florida Four Corners because all four corners have to be done within one trip. In other words, you can take 3 or 4 days or whatever amount of time you need to, but you can't go home and then come back and finish the last corner. So
Okay.
I have to go back to Florida, hit Jacksonville, Miami, Naples, and Pensacola.
Okay. I know me and a couple guys supposed to knock out the four corners of North Carolina here in the next month or two.
Okay.
When you complete these rides, I know you give out a patch and a certificate for the four corners of North Carolina. Now, is this something you doing for the four corners of Georgia and Florida as well?
Yes. So there is a registration. There is registration that is available by going to Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry on our Facebook group page,
Uh-huh.
and the registrations are available there. Um, so let's see. So it's a 3-inch diameter patch. The quality is very, very good. They made the patch very well.
Okay.
And so it'll sew on your patch, on your cut, your vest, or whatever, really nicely. So yes, we have a patch for North Carolina, Georgia. We will be doing Alabama as well as Virginia. And my personal mission is to complete the four corners of the 48 states. So all of the lower 48 states, eventually I'm going to ride the four corners of those states.
Okay.
And we will have patches available for each state.
Well, I know for sure you will get it done. I can't say how long it's gonna take you, but the way you ride and the way you jump out there, I know for sure it'll definitely get done, man. And I just again want to commend you on your efforts in this motorcycle culture, man, because a lot of people don't know you personally like I do, man. And they don't know
Mhm.
what you do for a lot of people out here in this motorcycle world, whether it's showing up at an event, showing love, being supportive, answering all the questions I've ever had for you. I told the people I kind of met you 3, 4 years ago. I don't know exactly when it was, but I know I did a charity ride down at Speedway Harley Davidson, and you ended up coming down there to that event, and I don't know what jumped on your bike. I mean, on your back, but you ended up leaving out with a new bike. You know what I mean? And that's
I sure
yeah,
did.
yeah. That's where it all started from. And ever since
Yeah.
I see you on that bike, man, you been rolling ever since, man.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't intending to buy a bike. I just went down there for the fellowship and left out there with a little bit more than just that.
Yeah,
So I
man.
mean, hey, things happen.
Hey, that was your blessing at the moment, though.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
definitely served its purpose, and I'm one person that could tell you've ridden that bike. You know that bike gets his miles in. I definitely tell you that.
yeah. She does. She does.
Yeah. So let's get into a couple of these topics I want to discuss, man. I got a couple things that I want to, get your input on, get your knowledge on, and I know you got a word to share for the people for as, questions that they may have and stuff like that, man. So we kind of want to start off by talking about, the motorcycle culture, the motorcycle world, things that's going on in the motorcycle world, safety systems that they adding on these new motorcycles. I spoke with you and a couple other people about a couple concerns I had with my bike. I have the new CVO, the 2023 CVO, and it's a couple safety concerns and things that I had on my bike. And I remember talking to you and you was telling me, the kickstand feature, what was a feature that they been added, and maybe it was added for certain bikes or something like that. I know you was telling me you had a police bike at one time, and it was a safety feature. Maybe if they had to jump off their bike and kind of apprehend somebody or something, the bike would automatically shut off. And that's a feature that they have on the 2023 CVOs. But, a lot of people been having issues with, the kickstand sensor and the system shutting off the bike in the middle of turns. And it's really became an unsafe mechanism. And a lot of people that, in this group that I follow has been trying to bypass that. What do you think about these upgraded features or these things that they trying to do with these new bikes?
Well, I think it's a good attempt, and I'm pretty sure eventually they'll work out the kinks. Unfortunately, those of us like yourself who are getting this new technology right off the bat have to kind of suffer through them working out the kinks. I think Well, let me say this: when I had my motorcycle, my street glide, it was a 2015, and they did have that. So when you put the kickstand down, they would shut the bike off. But it was hardwired, if you will. Once you put the kickstand down, it would activate a switch, which would turn off the motorcycle. And I'm only imagining. I haven't rode any of the 2023s yet. But I'm only imagining that now it's more of a wireless type of thing, via a sensor or something like that. So, I'm sure they'll work out those kinks eventually. I believe that Harley Davidson is really trying to reach a new market of riders.
Uh-huh.
And in doing so, they're going to be incorporating a whole lot more technology. I think the average diehard Harley enthusiast, they're satisfied with the technology that they've had for the last 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
When you look at the street glides, especially the street glides, they haven't changed from 2000 on up to, 20, 21, 22 maybe.
Uh-huh.
There's been very small changes, especially as it relates to the aesthetics. You've upgraded the infotainment system and things of that nature, and some slight lighting variations and things like that. But now I think they're getting ready to make some serious changes to entice the more younger technological consumer, if that makes sense.
I think, as far as what Harley's trying to do this day and time, with the bikes of the past, they kind of being really focused on the motors in the last couple of years,
Hmm.
the 110s, the 114s, the 117s, and, all that different stuff. And the features as far as the bike itself has kind of been, like you said, the same for the last couple of years. So all of a sudden now, with the new CVO, they came out with a new motor, which is the 121 VVT, but they also incorporated a lot of technology as far as the infotainment system and, a lot of the things that the bike does, basically, adjusting the ride. And, you got a rain mode, you got a track mode, and you got a regular highway mode and stuff like that as far as the settings on riding a bike. So they kind of
Hmm.
focused on, adding different elements. But like I said, the elements they had, just like anything, anything new come out, is gonna have some type of kinks that has to be worked out and, figured out. And I think that's just what a lot of people running into, like little small issues. But the thing about it, when stuff like that come out, the new CVOs, like I told you, I follow this group on Facebook, and man, them people will have you to think that that's the worst bike you could have possibly bought, because there's so many gripes and complaints on that page. It is like, man, do y'all even ride? Like,
Right.
you have people to infiltrate that page that don't even own a CVO, and they get on there and, they just had the most to say. I kind of really don't even pay attention to it no more, because
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
happy with my bike. I rode it to DC, I done rode it to Florida, Tennessee. I enjoy riding. Now, it ain't perfect, just like ain't nothing perfect, but it's like, man,
Right.
Harley doing what they doing to try to keep up with the times. And it's like, anytime they try to bring something or introduce something new, somebody go find a problem with it. That's just the way of the world.
Exactly. When it comes to the CVO, you have your lovers and you have your haters. As it, everything is like that for the most part. But when you really pause and think about the CVO, okay, what is it? The custom vehicle.
Operation.
What's the O stand for? Operation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But with the CVO, typically you get all the bells and whistles, right? They've watched the consumer purchase the Harley Davidson. They've watched the upgrades that they've made, and I think that Harley as a whole, after looking at the upgrades and improvements and customizations that the consumer has made, they handpicked what they thought would be signature, if you will. And so they incorporated that into making the CVO, right? So you get all the bells and whistles, top of the line. And, but you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
So, there are some people, I think, that if they really could afford it, they probably wouldn't talk about it as much as they do. I'm just saying, you're going to have your haters and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that when you have someone who is hating, if you will, they're only going to look for the bad things. And if you look for bad things in anything and anybody, guess what?
Yeah.
You're going to find them sooner or later.
Oh yeah.
But if you look for the good, you're going to find the good too. So, depending on which side of the fence you're on in the beginning, more than likely is going to, determine what your conversation about is going to be.
And then also with that, man, a lot of the hate comes from people that just has a different preference about doing things. You can't hate on somebody because they want to put a certain thing on their bike that you didn't put on yours, and now you want to gripe and complain about it. It's not your bike. You got to let people build their stuff the way they want it. Like, you can't have an opinion off of how somebody else is customizing their bike. Which brings me to another
Right.
point. Talking about customization, I've built a couple different bikes. Now, with this CVO, I think I decided that I'm gonna chill for a while and not really put too much money into it until the kinks are worked out. I'm
Hmm.
satisfied with it now, the way it rides and things of that nature. But of course, we all want our own sound. We all want to do something to our tunes on our bike and stuff. But with it being so technology driven, I'm scared to mess with it because I know as soon as I touch something, it's definitely going to void the warranty. And I would hate to, go into it, get to messing with it and void my warranty. And then, they have like this big
Right.
recall or these big issues with it. So I'm really trying to be patient and wait it out and just, just ride it and enjoy it the way it is.
I think that's a smart move. I really do. I think that's a really smart move. Because first of all, you got the CVO, so you got the bells and whistles. You got enough horsepower in that thing. It's a pretty bike as it sits, and so I wouldn't make any major, customizations on it and risk voiding the warranty either. Because as we both have agreed, there are kinks that must be worked out. And if you do anything to void your warranty, then those kinks are going to be, left on your pocketbook to
Yeah.
handle.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
So far as customization, I know you a firm believer, well, not a firm believer. You one of the ones that says you would never go over a 21 on your bikes, and that's due to you riding the way you ride, correct?
Correct. Now, I do plan on getting I don't know if it'll be a Road King or, and it more than likely will be, probably an older one, not a newer one, just to make a pretty bike, just, put some swag on it. It won't be a bike that I'll get on and ride, from here to California, anything like that. And, more than likely I'll do a 21. I doubt if I'll go any bigger than that. Because if I decide to get on it and go to California, I want it to be built in a way that I could still do that. But it wouldn't be my bike of choice for long distance.
Yeah.
And on that bike, I'll play around with it in terms of customization and things like that.
Okay.
But my Road Glide, that's my primary, bike. I've got a 21 on it right now, real simple. And everything that's on it is functional with the exception of my handlebars.
Okay. So with your Road Glide now, what type of rides do you have planned for 2024? You have any major rides that you plan on participating in this year, or a destination that you plan on visiting?
I don't have any major destinations per se. 2024, we're going to focus on knocking out as many of the four corners as we can. So I'm going to really try to cover a lot of ground as far as that's concerned. The wife and I, we have talked about Alaska. We're talking about that. It's supposed to be for 2025, and I don't think we'll do that any sooner than then. But other than that, there are some rides in terms of events that I'll be, getting around to. Come next month, we'll be down in Florida for the Iron Elite. That'll be in Jacksonville, Florida. I want to say sometime in April we'll be up in Detroit. Lavish is having a biker event up there. We'll go check it out. And then there's some other things that I'm sure will pop up that we'll, be a part of.
This Iron Elite that you going to in Florida, because I think I might join you and ride down there. What kind of bike event is it? Like I know you been a couple times. What can I expect from an event like Iron Elite? Because I've never heard of it until I spoke with you.
Okay. So historically, Iron Elite was an event that was encouraged by Harley Davidson. They had a campaign, and they wanted the local dealerships to, for lack of a better explanation, to include the black consumer, the black rider.
Okay.
And so the Iron Elite was a movement or a opportunity to appreciate and to highlight, the black rider and the contribution that we have made down through the years. And so that's how it started. And it kind of fizzled out. It kind of died down. No one really took advantage of it per se. There were several people who had done the events at different dealerships. Icy, who is president of NC's Finest, all-female MC in Statesville, North Carolina, he had done one at Tilly's several years ago. But Sarge down in Jacksonville, Florida, he picked it up to kind of revamp it. And again, these were done at different cities, different dealerships. So it wasn't just, one person didn't really have a monopoly on it per se. But Sarge, he believed in it. And so he picked it back up several years ago and just been staying at it. And it's just really picked up. And so it has been nicknamed because it's more than just the Iron Elite. Every year he gives away 2 awards that he calls the Titan Award, both male and female recipient each year. And some of the biggest names in motorcycling have been the recipients in the past past several years. So it's been nicknamed the Family Reunion of Ground Pounders. And so you have people who ride anywhere from, let me just say this. People who ride up to 100,000 miles a year and more are at this event. They take time out of their schedule to get down there to this event. What you can expect when you get there is a whole lot of knowledge walking around the campus of Adamak Harley-Davidson, and apt and quickly to share information. Another thing you can expect when you get there is you can expect a whole lot of smiles and hugs. It's not an event that has anything to do with motorcycle politics as it relates to what club you might be affiliated with. And that in and of itself is a beautiful and a refreshing thing. You're going to see cuts and vets from different, areas and different clubs. But it's just like a family reunion. It really is, man, So when I got there, I think last year, we pulled up on that Saturday afternoon, and it was just a sea of kids. I mean, it was young kids out there dancing, having fun, because it really is. It's a family event. This is an event where you don't even have to be in a motorcycle club to go and to benefit from. It's such a positive vibe from start to finish. And so it's one that we'll hit up every year for sure.
Okay. So with that being said, the future of motorcycle events and bike rallies and attending a lot of these different things, what do you look forward to the most? I know Maxton was one that really caught me by surprise, one that really intrigued me, man. I was grateful that I decided to go because it was a last minute trip for me. I've never been out there, even though it's in North Carolina, man. And I just woke up that morning and I talked to my brother-in-law and he told me he was actually riding down there with you. And I told him, I said, well, man, I'm going to reach out to a couple of guys and see if they want to ride down there. And I called a couple of guys and we made a last minute decision to just ride down there. And man, when I got there, I was blown away. I was like, man, like all these years, this event has been going on right here in my backyard. I've never been. And then to show up and see for myself, like I was really taken by surprise, man. And it's definitely something that I'm going to add on my list every year now because I was just, glad that it was an event that it wasn't no problems, no issues. Everybody just having a good time, man. The vendors was good, the people, the atmosphere. And I was like, man, it's like, how was this in my backyard? And I've been down to the bike rally since 1996. You know what I mean? And it's like all these years I've been bypassing this Maxton event, never heard anybody speak about it. And then to see it for my own eyes, like where I been, you know what I mean?
It was absolutely beautiful, and I agree with you. It will be one that I will more than likely be at every year if I can help it as well. I want to say they've got almost, if not 50 years in the game. They are, I think Maxton is a motorcycle club that we need to see more of, that we need to experience more of, because in my humble opinion, they're one of those staple motorcycle clubs. In other words, they represent what it's really all about. I don't want to talk too much on motorcycle politics, but I'm afraid that the motorcycle set, the MC set, has gotten further away from what it was really initiated for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do believe that there are some who still get it. and they're still, as we would say in the church world, holding up the bloodstained banner. They're still representing. They haven't removed the ancient landmark, and we have to be careful, even as we progress, that we don't move too far away from the reason why we do what we do anyway.
Yeah.
And so that's why events like that, when they're Maxton, their event, I think should be on the top of our list.
Oh yeah, it definitely should be on the top of, if you're a true motorcycle enthusiast and you really love the culture and you really love being on the set, that's definitely a place that you have to attend. And like you said, far as the motorcycle clubs getting away from, what it used to be, being on the set and things like that, it has become watered down. It has become
Hmm.
a lot of people, doing things the way they do, folks not following bylaws and things like that, man. And, these rules and regulations was, set in place for a reason. And one of the major things that you hear about MC clubs these days is, having people in the club that don't even ride. So it's like, if you not
Yeah.
riding and you ain't putting in these miles in this club and stuff, like, what are you in there for? But that's a personal thing for them. Like, I don't even, like you said, ain't no need of me getting into the politics, because I'm not trying to control what no club does out there. It's just like, okay, well, I know my goal is to ride. I know I want to get out here
Right.
and see the world. I want to get out here and connect with different people. I want to get out here and learn and understand what's really going on, and understand, like, the history of this motorcycle set stuff. You know what I mean? So I kind of talk to a lot of different people. I follow a lot of different people on social media that I learn from, and, like I told you, I'm seeing that now, the bagger world is becoming more of a race world. Everybody building race bikes, and I'm gonna build me one, I'm gonna build me one,
Right.
take to the drag strip, man. And a lot of people really, I think the future of the rallies and stuff go come down to some type of bike event where it includes racing.
Okay.
So with that said, the shift in the demographics of what we think the motorcycle world is going to come to, and what people are looking forward to with these bike events. Let's talk about the different demographics. And when I say demographics, I'm speaking about women being involved more. You got the younger adults such as myself that's crossed over into the Harley world. Well, I'm not even gonna say Harley, just Harley, because a lot of people jumping out there on them Indians as well. So we got a lot of people shifting over there. What you think about the demographic and the shift in the motorcycle world?
Um, well, as it relates to two things that stick out, women, and then the younger generation. And, the women have been, on the motorcycle scene for a long time.
Mhm.
You've got a lady by the name of Bessie Stringfield, who has been doing it, for a long, long time, the early 1900s, give or take,
Uh-huh.
Um, and so anyway, and she was born right here in North Carolina, you know. But the thing is, we have social media, which is making it a whole lot more noticeable, or a little bit more, a whole lot more known,
Uh-huh.
And then we have, and these women, they're not out there on those sportsters no more.
Yeah.
I mean, once upon a
Yeah.
time, they might, a little sports store, or Softail or something, but no, sir. No, sir. They out there on them big boy things,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
They
know?
pulling up with big motors and big wheels and everything.
Yeah. And but when you think about motorcycling, I mean, it crosses all different kind of barriers, man. That's why I enjoy it so much, because I can pull up in the middle of Oklahoma, and pull into a gas station and don't see nobody that looks like me,
Hmm.
right? But they look at your motorcycle, and then the conversation ensues.
Yeah.
I mean, so the thing about that motorcycle, man, it's really a powerful thing. It's a powerful tool. Um, so I think, as far as the demographics changing, I think probably the only thing that will change, with all that said and done, is the younger generation getting involved much earlier,
Do you think
if
that's
that makes sense.
a reflection from social media? Do you think social media is shaping the motorcycle culture now, that more younger people are getting involved in the bike bills and attending the events and things like that? Or do you think it's just, you know because far as me and my addiction to motorcycles, it was in me from a little boy. Like, I grew up, my,
Hmm.
my, my dad and my uncles and my grandpa, they all rode bikes, you know what I mean? So it was kind of in my family. But now I see a lot of people who's never ridden, never, actually just 2 weeks ago, I was down at the Harley dealership, man, and I was checking on a part, and this guy that I knew from high school came in and was looking for a bike, and he's never ridden a motorcycle before, and he was
Hmm.
asking me like, "Man, what you think I should start with, man?" Then I'm like, I can't answer that, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm one of them people, like, if you can ride one, you can ride them all. It's just all
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
what feel comfortable for you. You know what I mean? Like, if you got the money and you want to go out here and jump on a 121 CVO, I mean, if you know how to ride a 107 motor, you can ride a 121. So I can't really tell you,
Right.
what's going to be the best bike for you. You have to decide that yourself.
Yeah. To answer your question, though, yeah, absolutely. I believe social media has made a huge impact on the younger riding, getting on baggers and touring motorcycles. If you'll notice at the last what did they have it down here in Milwaukee where they had their anniversary? What was it? The 10, not the 10,
What
whichever one it was.
the what was it? The one was it the 120th? The
I think it was. I think it was the 120th.
Yeah, the 120th
Um,
anniversary in Milwaukee.
in Milwaukee. Now, if you look at that, what you'll notice is that they had a whole lot of YouTubers and social media influencers
Uh-huh.
invited down there, you know, and they were strategic. They did that for a reason because they know that those YouTubers and those social media influencers can do just that. They can influence the people who follow their page.
Yeah.
And so yes, they are. I think that the younger generation will be getting involved in baggers and Harleys and stuff like that a lot sooner because of social media.
I think they picking up on that too. Even if you look at they supposed to be having a release of the new 2024 motorcycles coming out on the 24th of January, and they have like a major social media presence leading up to this release. Like, they showing all these little clips and videos, and like you said, it's a lot of social media influencers posting about the upcoming release, and you got to go to the Harley page and sign up and get like this access code that they'll send you for the release date, where you can log on to YouTube and look at the release and all this stuff. So they definitely using social media platforms to their advantage, far as, updating people on what's coming out, the new changes, the new ideas and things like that. I just seen that Harley Davidson did like some type of big ride in Mexico like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they invited a lot of the social media influencers out there to do that work too.
Hmm.
So they definitely picking up on the social media platforms.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it is the way of the future. Even certain jobs, they're checking out your social media presence and things like that. So we definitely can no longer overlook social media and its effect.
Yeah. So I want to get into one more thing, and then I'm gonna let you go. I know you're a man of all, jack of all trades. You probably got a list of things to get done today, so I ain't gonna hold you too long. But I do want to talk to you about safety when you out riding. I know you an avid rider, and I just want to get your input on, riding by yourself or riding in a group. Like, what are some things that you kind of feel is a safety mechanism far as riding with a group as opposed to being by yourself?
Okay, so when riding with a group, of course, if something happens, you got help right there, and things of that nature. One thing that I try to do when riding with a group, if it's not my team, because we know how we ride together, and we have understanding that someone else may not have. So if I'm riding with a group outside of my team, I'll usually have some kind of brief before we take off, just to kind of explain to them a few things that we do, whether it be hand signals or which style we're going to ride, things like that, just so they'll kind of be kind of aware and they won't do anything that could cause a problem. Because most of the time that's what happens when you have someone in front of someone and they're not familiar with their style of riding. They may misread what they're getting ready to do or not, and that can cause a problem. So that's one way I try to, ensure a level of safety is, just give a briefing so everyone be on the same page. As it relates to riding by myself, this past weekend, that's what I did. I was by myself for over 2,000 miles. And so what I do is, first of all, I make sure, at least two, maybe even three or four people have my glimpse, my tracker.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do go down or get stranded in some remote place, they can look right there on the phone and see exactly where I am. Not only that, but they can look ahead of me, because when you're on the motorcycle, you can, but it's a little bit more difficult to ride, pay attention to the road, and check ahead for weather and things like that. So when they have your tracker, a lot of times they can say, "Hey, Retro, I see you getting ready to hit, Macon, and they got a big storm that just touched down there,
Mm-hmm.
So that can help me, reroute or just call it quits for the night,
Yeah.
So that's one way one thing that I do to stay safe when traveling by myself. Um, you got to know your bike and you got to listen to your bike. Your bike will make noises and sounds, and you should know when that's not a common or normal sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then pay attention to it, because, there are some things that you can't get fixed, in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? So that's another way that we can, another measure we can take to stay safe. Just simply be aware and pay attention,
Yeah.
And then another thing, when I'm riding by myself or with a group, it doesn't matter with this one. I try to read the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I try my best to read traffic. When I'm riding with a group, normally I like to, if we're on the interstate, I like to enter the interstate and then find that left lane. And I don't find the left lane so that I can just speed. That's not the only reason for finding the left lane. I find the left lane because, we only have to worry about one side, to protect only the one side, In other words, the guardrail is not going to cut in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now all I have to do is worry about my right side, whether or not a car is going to cut in or whatever. And when we're in the left lane, we don't have to weave in and out of traffic as much,
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times people think that finding the left lane is all about speeding, but it's really not for me. It does have a safety element to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of the ones that find a left lane, and I'm definitely one of those ones that go twist the throttle as well. I admit that,
Hmm.
but I've also learned that you can't twist the throttle with everybody.
Correct.
It's some guys that I've learned that when I ride with, I got to kind of keep my distance, just because of the way they ride, and that's just their riding style. But their riding style compared to how I ride, don't line up. So I keep my distance because I don't know they moves, and a lot of times people make sudden moves and stuff like that. So I definitely understand a lot about that left lane, man, and I try to stay
Yeah.
over there as much as I can myself.
Hmm. When you got a group, it's so much easier to ride a little faster, but not have to worry about switching in and out of lanes.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell my team, because some people think that I'm just a speed demon, and it's not about that. But if we're doing 70,
Hmm.
right, in a 70-mile-an-hour area, you're gonna have cars pass you all day long, you know, and so there's gonna come a time where we have to bob and weave around vehicles, and when you got 6, 7 bikes behind you, it's easy just to hit that left lane and just maintain speed.
Yeah.
So you're not trying to pass cars and things like that,
Yeah. 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 I
you
mean,
know.
to me, it's the more safe place to be. Like you said,
Hmm.
you really just worried about what's coming from your right side. And normally, if you ride in that left lane and somebody do pass you on the right side, they trying to get in front of you because they speeding anyway. So
Hmm.
go ahead
Hmm.
and jump over there, get on in front of me, and keep on going. You know what I mean? That's how I ride, man. But again, Retro, man, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for all the knowledge that you always share, man. Like I said, you're a book of knowledge, man, and whether you accept it or not, you know a lot when it comes to this motorcycle stuff, man. And trust me, you got people out there watching you, man. Whether they tell you that or not, they definitely watch it. And I just want to end by telling you, man, keep on doing what you're doing, keep on succeeding, and keep on pushing forward, man. And like I always tell you, anytime you need me, man, I'm a phone call away.
And likewise, man, we appreciate everything that you're doing. You feel free to reach out anytime you need to. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, man, so yeah, I appreciate those kind words, brother. But I'm going to say this, man, you are no greater than your ability to make someone else great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you have information, you're supposed to share it.
Oh yeah, of course, man. But for some reason, man, a lot of people don't think like that. We got a lot of gatekeepers out there. A lot of people want to keep the secrets for themselves for whatever reason. I've never been that type of guy, man. And when you meet people like yourself that's the same way, you got to just kind of let them know that you appreciate them, man, because you got some folks that like even with this podcast, I can't just call everybody and tell them I want them, on a podcast and, I want to pick their brain for some information, because a lot of people feel like they giving out secrets. And it's like, man, this is the motorcycle world. What secret do you feel like you giving out? You know what I mean? So you got to really kind of pick and choose who you, can really have a conversation with.
Yeah. Well, man, anytime you're ready for a conversation, man, I'll be more than happy, man. I'll share everything I know.
Well, man, we'll definitely be reaching out, and I'll definitely see you on the road for sure, man. And I'll be in contact with you about, that Four Corners of North Carolina. I think we said we was going to try to get that knocked out in February, but, I'm going to talk to the guys again and see when exactly they want to do it. And I'll reach out to you. I'll send you a message. Some way I'll be able to get in contact with you.
All right, absolutely. And when you guys get ready to do it, let me know. Even if I don't ride the whole Four Corners with you guys, I'll at least hit a few of the corners with you guys. So just keep me in the loop.
Okay. All right. I got you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man. God bless you.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. So that was Mr. Retro. Like I said, man, that guy come packed with a lot of knowledge, man. That's a good dude in this motorcycle community. And even those that's tuned in to this podcast, I can guarantee you, if you got a question for him, you got anything you want to ask him, I'm gonna put his his social media platforms and stuff. Excuse me. I'm gonna post his social media platforms. I'm gonna tag him in, the videos, the edit, the uploads, or whatever you want to call it, man. And like I said, if you guys got any questions for him, reach out to him, man. Well, without a doubt, I know he'll get back to you. I know he'll respond to whatever it is that you guys want to know. Like I said, he full of knowledge. We didn't even get into, the tip of the iceberg of the things that he know. But we'll definitely have him on the show again sometime soon. We gonna have a list of people on the show, and if you guys out there that's listening want to be a part of the show, shoot me a direct message, shoot me a email, give me a call, tag me in a post. I'm willing to talk and speak to anybody when it comes to this motorcycle stuff, whether, you male, female, new rider, old rider, you in a club, you not in a club. We just looking for the opinions of people who ride motorcycles, and we all have different opinions. So if you guys want to come on the Do You Ride podcast and just chop it up, talk, have a good conversation, reach out to me, let me know. Until then, we'll get with you on the next episode. I appreciate you tuning in. I will get back with y'all as soon as possible. Let me know again, like I said, if something I ain't doing right, my sound not right, I need to change something, give me your feedback. All right, I get with y'all later. And again, thank you for tuning in.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Do You Ride? We hope you enjoyed the ride as much as we did. If you're craving for more motorcycle adventures, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Connect with us on social media. We'd love to hear your stories, your favorite rides, and what makes you feel alive on two wheels. Don't forget to spread the love by sharing our podcast with your fellow riders and friends who appreciate the sweet symphony of a well-tuned engine. Until next time, keep the rubber side down, the throttle wide open, and remember, no matter where life takes you, always ask, do you ride?